railways. The backbone of a nation, and arguably one of the icons that made Britain over 150 years ago. And Britain now has the largest railway network in the world, with trains reaching destinations such as Devon, Cornwall, Wales, and the north of Scotland. Britain's railways are forever increasing in both passenger and freight traffic. Most people know how to use the railways safely, however, some people may not. I, Thomas Reed, am going to show you what railway safety is like and how to be safe when using or nearby the railways. So Andy, what is your experience with the railways of Britain?
I've had lots of experience of railways in Britain, most notably when I was at university. I used to come home every weekend, so I have to get the Liverpool to Manchester train from Warrington. So I used to spend a lot of time on that, a lot of time at the stations. So I lived in Stockport, so I had to get the train from Stockport to Oxford Road and then onto Warrington or Birchwood. So a lot of time spent on train platforms waiting for trains to arrive. Biggest problem I experienced with trains is probably overcrowding. So I would know that when I was getting on a train, if I was getting on it like between 4 and 6 o'clock and going through Manchester, I know there was no chance of getting a seat. And especially if I was coming home from university, I would have like a suitcase or a large bag full of washing to take home, and it was an absolute nightmare. The advice I would give to people using the railways would be to know what train you're getting on. Always have a map, always keep an eye on what station's next, and I'm forever paranoid that I'm on the wrong train.
I'm working on the railways now for 16 years. I started off as a guard for 2.5 years, and then I've been driving for 14 years. It's given me loads of training, obviously, over the years. People skills, when I was a conductor, dealing with people, members of staff.
And what would you say is the main problem with railways of Britain?
I suppose it's money. They need to spend money on infrastructure, new locos, new units, things like that. It's really underfunded. The money is actually coming through, and things are getting better. But on the whole, more money needs to be spent.
What advice would you give people who are new to using railways and how to stay safe when using railways?
If anything, just read the signs, stay safe.
This is York, one of the busiest stations on the East Coast Main Line, which serves London King's Cross to Edinburgh. York serves as one of the exchange stations on the East Coast Main Line for trains bound for the West Coast and for the East. It's also home to the National Rail Museum, which we will now go inside. Welcome to the National Rail Museum in York, home to some of the world's most famous trains. The NRM can be a busy place when new events are on, such as when locomotives like Henry Oakley are on loan from an NRM sister museum, Locomotion, in Shildon, or when new exhibits such as the ambulance train are on at the museum. This is Mallard, the world's fastest steam locomotive, and Mallard holds the record at a staggering 126.2 miles per hour and has been unbeaten to this day. In the 1960s, steam gave way to diesel traction, and the English electric Deltic locomotives were what replaced Mallard and her sisters on the East Coast Main Line. The Deltics were capable of reaching speeds up to 110 miles per hour, but produced ridiculous amounts of turbulence when passing through stations. Nowadays, trains are reaching speeds of up to 125 miles per hour, and Network Rail are encouraging passengers to stay behind the yellow lines on the platforms. Join me in the next episode when we look at the glory days of steam and how it shaped Britain in the railways.